The Fox Valley also continuing cleanup from flooding. Jason Zimmerman continues our team coverage live for us in Appleton tonight. Jason.
Cammy, lots of people in this neighborhood near the intersection of West Lindbergh and North Appleton Street are busy cleaning up right now. If you look around, you can see all types of debris on the side of the road that was tossed out after basements took on water from Friday's storm. For the third time in 10 years, Shannon Martelli is voicing frustration after heavy rain left her property a mess.
There's water in my basement now, guys.
This is video she took during Friday's storm as it was passing through Appleton.
In the back of my house, the water was so high it covered my basement windows, and the water was just flowing into my basement on both windows. So we had a pool of water down there.
Days later, she's still cleaning up and tossing out items damaged from the water. Neighbors across the street doing the same thing. And a couple doors down, Randy Zalicki provided us pictures.
Here's a fire hydrant just barely popping up over the water level.
Fortunately, he says the water didn't make it inside his house.
It just came up to the sidewalk and kind of across. And then, like I said, our backyard is some low spots, so it goes with the territory. And the low spots are in the back part of the lot.
But nothing got in.
Correct.
On Monday morning, more rain came down, and because of that, Martelli stood by several street drains to ensure they stayed clear of debris. It's a constant problem she says the city should be forced to correct.
It's terrifying. As a homeowner on this corner, we're just tired of it. We're tired of the damages. We're tired of the flooding. And we shouldn't have to stand out here every time it rains.
We did reach out to the city and the mayor's office regarding these complaints and the lack of drainage during storms in this neighborhood. So far, we have not heard back. Reporting live in Appleton, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.